Well, hello friends, this is Tommy Oakes and this is the Story Break. The last Story Break was called King and Horse, and I would recommend that you go watch that one after you get through with this one. And if you wanted to watch them in order, I'd watch that one and then this one, okay? Last time I told a story designed for a certain type of person, and I didn't say who it was for, but I believe that it was for you. You would understand that story. Now this story, in my mind, is for a certain kind of person. It's very much like the last story, but the kind of person that I'm thinking about in this story are all of us church-going people who are followers of Jesus, okay? Keep that in mind. I'm going to tell you a story that's not in the Bible. All right, somebody made this up. The person I got it from was a lady by the name of Elizabeth Elliot. And it's a once upon a time story, and I hope you enjoy it. Once upon a time, Jesus and his disciples were walking down the road. Jesus stopped and turned around to all the guys and said, "I'd like for you to carry a stone for me this morning." And so the disciples started picking up stones. Now, among the disciples, of course, was Peter, the big fisherman. Peter's a kind of a practical kind of guy. And so he said to himself, well, he didn't say how big a stone. So he looked around for the smallest stone he could find, and he stuck it in his pocket. And they walked pretty much all morning long. Peter hardly even noticed having that stone with him. Well, along about lunchtime, Jesus walked over to the side of the road. There was a shade tree over there, and he sat down. All the guys sat down. And Jesus said, "Now get that stone out and lay it in front of you." And they all got their stones out and laid them in front of them. And Jesus waved his hand, and all the stones turned into bread. Jesus said, "Let's have lunch." Well, Peter didn't get to eat very much because the stone that he picked up was a pretty small stone. But after they got done eating, the Lord Jesus said to his disciples, "Well, this afternoon I'd like for you to carry a stone for me again." Well, Peter, remembering lunch, looked around and he found the biggest stone he could find. He could hardly pick it up. And all afternoon, as he was carrying that big old stone, he said to himself, "I can't wait for supper." Well, when it came about supper time, they had gotten to a river, and Jesus stopped and turned to his disciples and said, "Now just go ahead and throw your stones into the river." And they all threw their stones into the river, and Jesus said, "Well, come and follow me," and started walking on down the road. Well, the disciples all stood there dumbfounded, especially Peter. And Jesus turned to them and said to them, "Didn't you hear what I said? Who were you carrying the stone for?" And that's the end of that. Well, thanks for coming. See you next time on the Story Break.